First of all, in the phylum Porifera, we are just gonna study about first of all general characters, and we will move to the evolutionary characters and all of their characters in the phylum Porifera. These are pore-bearing animals, and the sponges are the simplest animals lacking true tissues and organs. All sponges are aquatic filter feeders. The body of the simple sponges resembles a sac perforated with pores, holes we can say, but water is drawn through the pores, which is called pores. Pores are called ostia. Into a central cavity, the sponge is sealed, then flows out of the sponge through a large opening called osculum. The body of sponge consists of two layers of the cells separated by gelatinous mesenchyma. Outer is made up of flattened epithelial cells called pinacocytes. Inner layer is made up of flagellated cells called conocytes or collar cells. Sponges may grow to over a meter in height and have an internal skeleton which is composed of spicules which provide the support to the body. The spicules may be formed by calcium carbonate or silica and protein. The bath sponges now rarely used which have proteinaceous endoskeleton. Then most sponges are hermaphrodite, whereas in few member sexes are separate. Sponges can reproduce asexually by fragmentation or by budding or gametes. During sexual reproduction, eggs and sperm formed by embryophytes. The sperm is carried out by a water current to neighboring sponges where fertilization takes place. The fertilized eggs develop into a multicellular free-swimming larva which settles to the bottom and grows into an adult. And this was all about their reproduction, that how their reproduction occurs by sexually and asexually. And we have common sponges which are Sycon, Spongilla, and we have some more important thing about these sponges, which is sponges are master filter. They can filter an amount of water 100,000 times their size each day. That means a basketball-sized sponge could filter an entire residential pool in one day. Sponges often use chemicals to deter predators from eating them. Scientists have discovered that some of these chemicals may have potential to treat cancer and HIV. Now we are moving to the next phylum, which is no, I don't think so that we should move to the next phylum for rapidly. First of all, we are just gonna discuss about their digestion, how does digestion occurs in sponges, their respiration, their excretion, their transportation. First of all, we will discuss that. Then we will move to next phylum, which is Cnidaria. Sponges evolved from colonial flagellated prototists that lived over 700 million years ago. These protists were probably related to the flagellates. Then we have, first of all, we are going to discuss about digestion. The simplest form of digestion is found in sponges, which lack digestive tract, and sponges' digestion is entirely intracellular. Then respiration. Respiratory system is not found in sponges. Diffusion is sufficient for the gaseous exchange. Excretion. Diffusion helps in excretion, hence there is no special organ for the removal of the nitrogenous waste. Diffusion is sufficient for transport within the sponges, and there is no proper circulatory system found in sponges. And the nervous system in the sponges is not found, and they lack nerve cells. Now we are just gonna discuss about the importance of the sponges. Sponges with fibrous skeleton are used for the purpose of the bathing, polishing, washing, and scrubbing. This was all about phylum Porifera, and now we are just moving to next phylum, which is phylum Cnidaria with nematocytes. Are clearly a step above the sponges in complexity. Their cells are organized into distinct tissues, including contractile tissues that act like a muscle. Cnidarians all are aquatic, majority of them are marine, whereas few live in fresh water. They are radially symmetrical and riboblastic. Their body wall encloses a hollow cavity, the gastrovascular cavity, or hence they are named as colentrata. All cnidarians are carnivorous. They paralyze or kill their prey with the help of a special stinging cells called cnidocytes. Hence, they are named as cnidarians. They have two distinct body forms, which is polyps and medusa. Polyps are cylindrical with mouth and tentacles upward, whereas a medusa On the other hand, is umbrella shape and with the mouth and the tentacles downward. Cnidarians can reproduce by both asexual and asexual methods. Asexual reproduction takes place by budding and regeneration, whereas asexual reproduction involves the fusion of the sperm and the egg released into the into the water, and then they are fertilized egg which develop into the free-swimming lava. Then we have some common cnidarians, which are hydra, jellyfish, sea anemone, and several others. Some cnidarians are the longest animal in the world. One of them that can stretch as long as 40 meters is Praeordopia. Jellyfish are made up of more than 95% of water, and they have no brain, blood, or nervous system. Jellyfish can have up to 800 tentacles. Then we are gonna just discuss about their evolutionary adaptations, like their mode of digestion, respiration, excretion, circulation, and nervous system. So first of all, we are going to discuss about the digestive system. Digestive system consisting of a sac called gastrovascular cavity with a single opening mouth, helping both ingestion and egestion. There is no respiratory system. Both ectodermal and endodermal cell exchange gases with water. Excretion, there is no excretory system. Diffusion is only responsible for the removal of nitrogenous waste. Transport, gastrovascular cavity, which is found in the cnidarians, help in the transport of nutrients throughout the body. Then nervous system, the nervous cells are organized into tissues called nerve network or diffuse type nervous system. They contain a diffuse type of nervous system. Then we have some importance as well of the cnidarians, which like coral reefs, which are usually restricted to warm, shallow water, provide haven to a large number of marine species. Jewelry and other decorative items are carved from the red corals, and it are also used to treat many prepare many Eastern medicines as well. Then we have next phylum, which is phylum Platyhelminths. Phylum Platyhelminths, flatworms. The other name for this is flatworms. Flatworms were named so because their body are thin between the dorsal and the ventral surfaces, means they are flattened dorso-ventrally. They range in size from nearly microscopic free-living to 20-meter long tapeworms. They are acoelomate, bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic animals with organs and organ system. Some platforms have a head with a pair of eye spot that detect light. Free-living flatworms move with the help of a cilia, which is present on the ventral epidermis. Flatworms can reproduce by both asexual and asexual method. Free-living forms reproduce asexually through regeneration. All forms can reproduce sexually, and most are hermaphrodites. Most common platyhelminths which is found on the earth are planaria, liver flute, tapeworms, and several others. Flatworms do not look anything like cnidarians. The two share some features that have led biologists to speculate that they have evolved from common ancestors. Both have, the cnidarians and platyhelminths both have gastrovascular cavity. Now we are gonna just go through the evolutionary adaptations in the platyhelminths, like digestion, respiration, excretion, transport, nervous system, and several others in their importance as well. Digestion, the food is digested in intricately branched gastrovascular cavity that distributes nutrients to all parts of the body. Respiration is by diffusion between the cells and their environment. Excretion, simple system of excretion consisting of a network of the canal ending in a bulb-shaped cells having cilia called flame cells, protonephridia we can say. Transport, no specialized circulatory system is found in platyhelminths. Nervous system, ladder type nervous system consists of two lateral nerve cords plus the connecting nerves looks like a ladder. Paired ganglia collection of cells functions as a brain. The flatworms are not really flat and have a rounded body. Instead, they do have a flat belly though. The flatworms can either be extremely tiny or can grow up to become several inches long. They are pointed on both ends and are characterized by the eye spot on the head. Their colors may vary from being translucent white creamy or as well as brown as well. It could also be blotchy and mottled as well. Flatworms such as planarians are mostly free-living, while some are parasites. Then we have another phylum, which is phylum Aschelminthes. Aschelminthes is commonly called roundworms and are the most abundant animals on earth. They are mostly found everywhere in sea, freshwater and soil. Roundworms have a varied mode of existence, from free-living scavengers to predators and the parasitic on animals and plants. Most are microscopic, but some parasitic form reach a meter in length but have a long bilateral, symmetrical, triploblastic, pseudocelomate and cylindrical bodies with pointed ends. The muscles of the nematodes are all longitudinal, and their concentration produces a threshing motion in their body. Roundworms reproduce sexually. The sexes are separate in the most species. Female generally are larger than males, and fertilization is internal. And the common Aschelminthes found in the earth are Ascarius, Wucheria, and several others. Then we have the evolutionary adaptations in Aschelminthes: the digestion, respiration, excretion, transport, nervous system. So first of all, we are going to discuss about the digestion. Tubular gut running from the mouth to enter digestive system is complete. Diffusion sufficient for gaseous exchange, so has no respiratory system. Transport circulatory system is not found in Aschelminthes. Excretory system consists of two canals which run down the length of a worm. Nervous system: sensory organs in the head transmit the information to a simple brain composed of ring of ganglia. Then nematodes are essential in the nitrogen cycle and for regulating the decomposition of the organic matter. One species of nematode is known to control mosquito by eating their larvae. There are 60 billion nematodes for every human on earth. According to Burns, 80% of the living animal on the earth are nematode worms. Roundworms are important as agriculture pests that they attack the roots of the plants. Humans serve as a host of the 50 species. Pests are those organisms which spread any diseases in the crops like mosquito, rodents, weeds, etc. We have next phylum, which is phylum Annelida. Annelids are commonly called segmented worms, have the most complex body structure among of the all worms. They live on the land and the moist soil, in the fresh water, or in the sea. Many annelids are active free-swimming predators. Some are aquatic filter feeders living in tubes buried in the mud, whereas leechers are ectoparasites. They are all triploblastic, bilaterally symmetrical, coelomate, protostome with an organ system level of body organization. Chitinous also called CT or with or without parapodia, are usually present in the most of the annelids which help in the locomotion. Reproduction is usually sexual. Most of the annelids are hermaphrodite, but in few sexes are separate. Development is through the trochophore larva. Common annelids we have found are Nereis, leech, and earthworm. Then we have some evolutionary adaptations. Annelids are supposed to have evolved from the primitive flatworms like ancestors in the sea. Tubular digestive system with both mouth and anus. Complete digestive system is found in the annelids. Respiratory system is not found. Diffusion is sufficient for the gaseous exchange. Transport is they contain a closed type circulatory system with blood confined to the heart and blood vessels. Excretory organs are nephridia, which are found in most segments. Nervous system consists of a simple ganglionic brain in the head, as it was before in Aschelminthes and as it was before in platyannelids. Leeches have been used for the medicinal purposes for a very long time. Back then it was believed that the leechings would get rid of the bad blood that caused diseases. Earthworm helped the farmer by continuously fluffing the soil and adding nitrogenous waste into it, thus making the soil fertile. They are also used as a fish bait. Leeches are ectoparasite and sucks the blood. Then we have phylum Mollusca, and these are soft-bodied animals, but most are protected by hard shell made up of calcium carbonates. Slugs, squid, and octopus have reduced shell, most of which are internal or they have lost their shell completely during their evolution. All the molluscs are triploblastic, bilateral symmetrical, coelomate, protostome with organ system grade of the body organization. All the molluscs have the similar body plan with three main parts: muscular foot, visceral mass, and mental. Muscular foot usually used for the movement, visceral mass containing most of the internal organs, and mental a fold of the tissues that wraps over the visceral mass and secretes a shell. Many molluscs feed by using a strap-like grasping organ called radula to scrape a food. Reproduction is always sexual. Some species have separate sexes and others are hermaphrodite. They all pass through a trocholophore larva stage before moving to the adult stage. Common molluscs we have octopus, yenio, pearl, oyster. The oyster is usually ambisexual. It begins life as a male and then it becomes a female. It may go back and forth many times. The giant squid is the largest creature without a backbone. It weighs up to 2.5 tons and grows up to 60 feet long. Then we have some evolutionary adaptations in molluscs like digestion, respiration, transport, excretion, nervous system. Digestive system is straight with mouth and anus. Exchange of gases is in aquatic form with gills and the sampled lung in terrestrial form. Transport, benign circulatory system is in which blood directly bathing the organs in the hemocoel. Excretion, well-developed excretory system using tubular nephridia. And nervous system consists of the ganglion connected by the nerves, but many more of the ganglia are concentrated into the brain. A variety of molluscs called shellfish together with the crustaceans are still an important source of food. Their shells are decorative, some members are make valuable pearl. Then we have the next phylum, which is Arthropoda. Arthropoda is the largest phylum of the animal kingdom. They are found everywhere on the earth wherever the life is possible, even in the soil oil wells. Arthropods are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, coelomate, and protostomes. The diversity and the success of the arthropods are largely related to their segmentation, hard exoskeleton, and jointed appendages. The body of arthropod is completely covered with a cuticle and exoskeleton which is made up of protein and chitin. The exoskeleton protects the animals and provides point of attachment for the muscle that move the appendages. Sexes are usually separate and metamorphosis is a common occurrence. Common arthropod we have mosquito, prawn, scorpion, housefly, honeybee, and several others. Arthropod exists in a harsh condition in the world, from very cold places to the hottest places in the world. A scorpion, which is an arthropod, can survive even after being frozen solid. Then we are discussing about the digestion. Alimentary canal is well developed with mouth and anus. Mouth is assisted by jaws. Digestive system is complete. Respiration, arthropod efficient gas exchange is accomplished by gills in aquatic forms such as crustaceans and by either trachea or book lungs in terrestrial form. Arthropods have well developed circulatory system. Blood not only travels through the vessels but also empties into the hemocoel where it baths the internal organs directly, and this arrangement is known as open type circulatory system. Excretory organs are mostly malphizian tubules. They remove nitrogenous waste from the hemolymph and also function in osmoregulation. Nervous system. Arthropod's nervous system is similar in plan to that of the annelids, but more complex, we can say. It consists of a brain composed of diffuse ganglia in the head, connected to a series of ganglia running down the length of the body and linked by a ventral nerve cord. Arthropods are of great economic importance. The predominant group of arthropods, the insect, not only helps in the pollination but also the predator on the plant pest. Many cause diseases in plant and animals by transmitting bacteria and viruses. In human beings, they are responsible for the transmission of the plasmodiums and the germ of cholera. Arthropods are an important source of the food for many animals and carnivorous plants. Seafood that is not a fish, or molluscus that is generally an arthropod. Now we have phylum Echinodermata, and after this we are having the last phylum, which is chordate. The representative of the phylum Echinodermata are exclusively marine animals. They are radial symmetrical as adult. Their larva is free swimming, but with bilateral symmetrical. Adult echinoderms lack head, brain, and segmentation. They are triploblastic, xenomate, deuterostome with organ system grade of body organization. The body is covered by a delicate epidermis stretched over a firm exoskeleton of fixed or movable calcareous plates with spines. Echinoderms move on numerous tiny tube feeds, delicate cylindrical projection that extends from lower surface of the body. Tube feeds are a part of the water vascular system which functions in the locomotion, respiration, and food capture. Some echinoderms are vital for the ecology of the world oceans. The cucumber constantly sifts through the bottom sand and absorbs the dead organic matter from it. Most echinoderms reproduce by releasing sperm and eggs into the water where fertilization occurs and free-swimming larvae develop. The sexes are usually separate. Common echinoderms are starfish, sea urchin, sea cucumber, and bitter star. We have some evolutionary adaptations like digestion, respiration, transportation, and excretion, and nervous system. Echinoderms have complete digestive tract, but in some species, as a brittle star, it is incomplete. Gas exchange occurs through the tube feed, and in some form, numerous tiny skin gills project through the epidermis respiratory tree in sea cucumber. Transport: the echinoderms lack a circulatory system, although movement of the fluid in their walls developed phylum. Echinoderms lack excretory organs. Diffusion is responsible for loss of ammonia. Echinoderms have a relatively simple nervous system, I would say, with no distinct brain. Now here we have some importance. Echinoderms are efficient scavengers on a sea floor. Sea urchins that burrow into the rocks and along a shore can accelerate the erosion of these shorelines. Then here we have half notochord, we can say phylum. We have phylum Hemichordata. Hemichordates are exclusively marine, solitary, or colonial, mostly tuberous. Their body is soft, fragile, vermiform, unsegmented, bilateral, symmetrical, triploblastic, xenomate, and deuterostome. Reproduction is mainly sexual. Sexes are usually separate. Fertilization is external. Development direct or indirect with free-swimming tonoreal larvae. Their digestive system is complete with mouth and anus. Gas exchange through dorsal, lateral, pharyngeal, gill slit, simple, open, and well-developed circulatory system. Single glomerulus in the proboscis help in the removal of the nitrogenous waste. Then nervous system consisting mainly of subabnormal nerve plexus and dorsal collar nerve cords. We have common hemichords, that is bellenglossus and subglossus. And now we are having the last phyla, that is phylum chordates. Chordates in generally are bilateral, symmetrical, triploblastic, xenomate, deuterostome animals and having a complete digestive tract with a mouth and anus. Phylum is well developed and internal organs are suspended in a coelomic cavity fixed by a thin membranous tissue called mesentery. They all, as a rule, reproduce sexually. The chordates are extremely diverse group of the animals united by four features that all possess at some stages of their life, such as notochord, nerve cord, gill slit, post anal tail. Notochord: flexible rod that extends the length of the body and provides an attachment site for the muscles. Nerve cord lying dorsal to the digestive tract. This hollow neural structure develops a plugging and its anterior and it becomes a brain. Gill slit located in the pharynx. These may form functional respiratory openings or may appear only as grooves during an early stages of development. Postanal tail. Most chordates have a tail extending posterior to the anus. Now, their classification: invertebrate chordates and vertebrate chordates. Invertebrate chordates groups is protochordates. The invertebrate chordates lack a head and a backbone that is defining feature of vertebrates. They are classified into two subphyla: subphylum Urochordata and subphylum Cephalochordates. Urochordates are also called tunicate because their body is enclosed in a sac called tunic. They are marine and mostly sessile. The tunic is provided with two openings as incurrent or buccal siphon and excurrent or atrial siphon. Larva is motile and show chordata characters. Common urochordates are Hardemania and Escherichia. Then we have another group of invertebrate, another subphylum of invertebrate, which is Cephalochordata. The small fish-like cephalochordate spend most of its time half buried in the sandy sea bottom, flirting tiny food particles from the water. Common cephalochordate is Amphiasis. Then we have another group which is group vertebrate. In the vertebrate, notochord is usually replaced during development by a backbone or a vertebral column. Vertebrate shows other adaptations that have contributed to their successful invasion of the most habitats. One is the presence of the paired appendages. These first appeared as fin in fishes and serve as a stabilizer for the swimming. Over millions of years, some fins were modified by natural selection into legs that allow animals to crawl into dry land, and later into wings that allowed some to take to air. Another adaptation is an increase in size and complexity of their brain and sensory structures. Classification of vertebrates. Vertebrates are classified into 7 major classes. The first one is class jawless fish. Small group of the vertebrates, which includes the two groups of the jawless fish, the hagfishes and the lampreys. Both have skeleton of cartilage and are eel-like in shape. Both have unpaired fins located along the midline of the body. Both lack scales and their smooth, slimy skin is perforated by circular gills opening. Then we have some other characteristics, adaptations of the class jawless fish. Hagfish, which is using pincers like teeth that surround the tongue to burrow into coelomic cavity and ingest the prey's soft internal organs. Lamprey has sucker-like mouth lined with teeth, gills, pouches, or opening help in respiration. Then we have another class, second class cartilaginous fishes. We can also say chondrocytes. The vertebrates of the class cartilaginous fish, sharks, scarabs, and rays are called cartilaginous fishes because they have relatively flexible endoskeleton made up of cartilage rather than bone. Exoskeleton is made up of enormous number of tiny, sharp, enamel-coated tentacles called placoid scale. Mouth is ventral in position and their tail fin is heteroceral. They are present usually about 5 exposed gill slits on side which are not covered by a gill cover. The operculum, sclerodon. Dogfish is a small shark which is common in our seas. Then the other one is bony fish. Class bony fish we have. Class osteocytes are the most numerous both in individuals and in species. Endoskeleton in these fishes is bony, and the endoskeletons, which is made up of tiny bony plates which are called placoids and stenoid scales. According to whether their outer edge is smooth or spiny, mouth opening is present at anterior tip. The gills are covered over on each side by a gills cover called operculum. Most of these fishes have an air bladder which acts as hydrostatic organ. Tail fin is usually homospherical and diaphysical. This group includes seahorse, flying fish, globfish, carps, and etc. Then we have another fourth class Amphibia. The first vertebrates on the land were members of the class Amphibia. The limbs of the amphibians show varying degree of the adaptations to the movement in on land, from the belly dragging crawl or salamanders to the efficient dive frogs. Lung replaced in the gills in most adult forms, and the three-chambered heart circulates blood more efficiently. Skin of the most amphibians remain moist since it serves as an additional respiratory organ. This supplements poorly developed lungs. Amphibians are ectothermic, depend on the environment to regulate their body temperature. To avoid extremes of the temperature, they undergo hibernation in winters and estivations in summers. They do not have the ability to chew their food. They are also poorly equipped dentally, with only a few primitive momeric teeth in the front upper part of their jaws that allow them to hold onto wriggling prey. Then we have class reptile. Reptile evolved from an amphibian ancestor about 250 million years ago. Early reptiles, the dinosaurs, ruled the land for nearly 150 million years. Reptiles contain tough, scaly skin that resists water loss and protects the body. Fertilization is internal and egg is covered with shell. The shell prevents the egg from drying, while an internal membrane, the amnion, encloses the embryo in watery environment that all developing animal embryo require. Reptiles respire through the lungs. Three-chambered heart became modified, allowing better separation of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. The limbs and the skeleton evolved adaptations that provided better support and more efficient movement on land. Common reptiles which is found around the world are tortoise, turtles, lizards, snakes, crocodiles, alligators. Many species of the tortoise and turtles, including the endangered green turtles, are found in Pakistan. Then we have class apes, which is the sixth class. Birds evolved from reptiles during Mesozoic era. Amniotic eggs and the scales on the legs are just two of the reptilian features we see in birds. A bird can be defined as feather covered by pedal flying vertebrate possessing wings. Feathers, which covers the body all over, constitute a unique and a basic identifying character of the birds. Birds regulate their body temperature by physiological, and behavioral mechanism, maintaining a temperature that is usually higher than that of their surrounding. These animals have a high metabolic rate that increases their demand for the energy and require oxygen for tissue. Four-chambered heart keeps oxygenated blood separated from the deoxygenated blood. Respiratory system of the birds supplemented by air sacs that supply oxygenated air to the lungs. Four limbs are modified into wings. They have hollow, very light bones laced with air cavities. Horny beaks has replaced jaws. Fertilization is internal, and eggs are large, amniotic, and covered over by a hard calcareous shell. The modern birds are divided into two groups: Ratata, running birds, and flying birds. The running birds, sternum raft-like. These birds cannot fly because they have comparatively heavy weight and their wings are either vestigial or rudimentary. They have a flat sternum without keel, and accordingly their flight muscles are poorly developed. The distribution of the ratata is also restricted. None of them is found in Pakistan. Common are ostrich, kiwi, penguin, and several others. Then the other class, which is flying bird, sternum with keel. They are usually small, lightweight birds whose wings are highly developed, and feathers of their wings have an interlocking mechanisms. Their sternum is provided with a crease-like keel. to accommodate the highly developed pectoral flight muscles. The flying birds are distributed all around the world. Common flying birds are penguins, crows, not penguin, I would not say penguin, pigeons are parrot, peacock, owl, and several others. Now we are having the last class, which is class Mammalia. The mammals first appeared approximately 250 million years ago and came into the prominence after the extinction of the dinosaur roughly 70 million years ago. Mammals are named by the mammary gland used by all female members of this class to suckle their young. Mammals have an active metabolism and are endotherms. Efficient respiratory and circulatory system having a four-chambered heart support a high metabolic rate. A sheet of muscles called diaphragm helps ventilate the lungs. Hairs and the layers of fat under the skin help the body retain metabolic heat. With the exception of the egg-laying monotremors such as platypus and spiny anteriors, mammalians embryo develop in the uterus. Class Mammalia is divided into three subclasses: Protheria, Metatheria, and Eutheria, on the basis of the mold and development conditions of their newborn babies. Prototheria. The are spiny anteaters and are only living mammals that lay eggs. The egg, which is reptilian in structure and development, contain enough yolk to nourish the development embryo. Monoterms have hairs and they produce milk, two of the most important feature of Mammalia. Then we have class Metatheria. Kangaroos, koalas are the example of pouch mammals, we can say. A marsupial pouch mammal is born very early in its development and completes its embryonic development while nursing. In most species, the nursing young are held within a maternal pouch called marsupium. And now we are having the last subclass, which is Eutheria, or we can say placental mammals. Eutherian mammals have a longer period of pregnancy. Young eutherians complete their embryonic development within their uterus to enter to the mother by a placenta. Embryos receive oxygen and food from the mother's circulation and discharges the waste into her blood through the placenta. Common eutherian mammals are rats, rabbits, goats, donkey, zebra, and several others. Among the large placental mammals, elephants are the terrestrial, whereas the whale, the largest of all the animals, are aquatic. Bats are the only flying mammals, which is placental mammals. So this was all about diversity of among animals. Now I'm just going to give you a brief summary. Animals are eukaryotic, multicellular heterotrophs, which are reproduce sexually and are usually motile. Animal kingdom is most diverse group as far as number of species is concerned. They range in size from the microscopic to very huge organisms. Animals are thought to have evolved from volvox like protoctists. Kingdom Animalia is divided into 33 groups called phyla on the basis of their comparative morphology and internal architecture. Most animals have recognizable symmetry, either radial or bilateral. Sessile animals usually exhibit radial symmetry, whereas motile animals are usually bilateral symmetrical. Most animals have a body cavity, coelom between their body walls, and digestive tubes. Protostomes and deuterostome differ in early embryological development, the fate of blastospore. Sponges are asymmetrical, sessile, aquatic, filter feeders, like tissue organization. Cnidarians are radial symmetrical, diploblastic animals with two body forms, with polyps and medusa. Platyhelminths are commonly called flatworms. They are bilateral, symmetrical, triploblastic, acoelomate. Roundworms are the most abundant animals. Most of them are free-living, whereas many are parasites. They are bilateral, symmetrical, triploblastic, coelomate. Annelids are segmented worms. They are bilateral, symmetrical, coelomates and protostomes, and whereas the molluscs are the bilateral, symmetrical, non-segmented, Coelomate animals whose body can be divided roughly into head, foot, and visceral mass, and the mental. Arthropoda constitute the most diverse phylum. They are bilateral, symmetrical, coelomates, and protostomes. Exoskeleton is made up of chitin. Echinoderms are radially symmetrical, coelomates, and deuterostome. Bodies covered over by skinny calcareous layer and thousands of tiny multi-purpose tube feet. Chordates are the most advanced animals, include a small number of the invertebrates, chordates, and vertebrates. All chordates are bilateral, symmetrical animals that are characterized by a notochord, a hollow dorsal nerve cord, a pharyngeal gill slit. Many have a post-anal tail. So this was all about diversity among animals, and if you haven't cleared it right now, so you can ask me in the comment section. Allah Hafiz.